welcome on board the management of the new debutant, that's Aadhar Housing Finance. Rishi Anand, the MD and CEO, joins us on the show right now. Rishi, congratulations firstly on listing on the bourses. Tell us a little bit more about why the IPO, what's the current shareholding pattern post-listing, and how much is Blackstone divesting, and what is it that they would continue to hold?
The rationale behind the IPO is obviously, every company has a milestone to be achieved, which is the listing, which we have done today. Too many butterflies, but yeah, that's how it is. In terms of shareholding pattern, the second question of yours, the total IPO size was 3,000 crores. It has been oversubscribed about 25 times. The shareholding pattern from a current Blackstone holding of 98.7% drops by 22% to close to about 75.8%.
Okay, and I just also wanted to get in a sense, because you had received the SEBI clearance to raise 7,300 crore in May, that did not go through. Given that you were seeking favorable market conditions, do you think listing so close to the elections is a good idea?
So the way we look at it, yes, last time we had an approval from SEBI in 22. We waited out. The markets were volatile. Our BRRMs that time suggested to wait out. We waited out for a year. The card lapsed, and then we again, as we proceeded, we waited out for another 6 months and reapplied with SEBI. We got an approval. I would rather say two things here. One is election time a good time? I think it is more to do with the markets. Timing of election, as our bankers have suggested, is not, it does not matter too much. So we've gone ahead with the listing. In the entire, context of, approval in 22, now coming back with an approval in 23, I would say it gives more trust and faith in the holding of Blackstone, which holds close to about 198.7%, that the private equity player is not in a hurry to exit. So I think it is more of positive sign rather than, a delay.
Right, Rishi, when you look at it versus your peers, your AM is already the highest among your peers. What is the outlook then one could have for your company in terms of the rate at which you are aiming to grow your book, and any guidance that we can see in terms of the outlook going forward?
Yes, you're right. Our AUM happens to be close to about 20,000 crores as of December 23, which is highest among the peer group. I would not want to give you any guidance in terms of what is going to be in future, but I can give you, data in terms of what has happened in the last couple of years. On disbursement side, we've grown at the rate of about 25%, on AUM at about 20%, on profits about close to about 30%. So, and on the demand side, there is a huge demand. We're talking about a housing unit shortfall of about 10 crores, out of which 9.5 crores unit shortfall comes in the category that I operate, which is economically weaker section and lower income group. The moment I translate this 9.5 crores unit shortfall into housing loan requirement, it is 35 trillion Indian rupees requirement. So on the demand side, when there is a huge demand, there is enough and more space to expand. I don't see any reason why any company should be not be growing in what they have shown in the history, in the trajectory of the last 2 years.
Sure. What's your outlook then on NIMs as well as asset quality?
So asset quality, yes, 9 months FY23, our GNPA numbers was 1.4%. Comparable December 22, we were at 1.8%. So there is an obvious improvement in the asset quality. Historically, in the last 14 years, we have always remained in the range of close to about 1%, 1.2%, and our peak NPAs has been during the COVID times, which was 1.5%. So asset quality well within control. NIMs currently at about 8.5, 8.9%. The major contributor to NIM happens to be spreads. We are very comfortable with the current spreads that we are operating in. So I don't see any reason why there should be a dip in the NIM.
Right, and what about debt levels of the company? Are you comfortable with your debt levels? Will we see debt reduction down the line?
So we are at a current debt of about 12,500 crores against a book of about 20,000 crores. I think we are more than comfortably placed in the current debt levels that we are operating in.
Right, and Rishi, affordable housing, albeit is underpenetrated, is still a highly competitive space in India. What is your strategy to survive and thrive against your listed peers, whether you see Aadhar Financiers, Home First Finance or Aptus? What is your strategy there?
So you're right, overall mortgage penetration in the country, why not only, low income housing, but the overall mortgage penetration in the country against GDP stands at about 12.5%, against the closest country, which is China, which is at about 28%, forget the developed country, which is at about 50-60%. There is more. So yes, you're right, it is underpenetrated. When it comes to specifically to low income housing segment, yes, there are a lot of players who are focused in the low income housing segment, out of which we have listed peers as well. Where does Aadhar stand in all of this? In terms of AUM, we are the largest low income housing finance company, 20,000 crores. In terms of distribution, we are in 20 states and union territory, covering about close to about 490 branches, spread in about 533 districts out of the 806 districts in the country. We are covering about 11,000 pin codes out of the 18,000 pin codes in the states we are available, spread across the length and breadth of the country. I would say our distribution strategy, our reach to the customer is what is our strength, and that will keep us ahead of the closest competitors, which might be in about 13 states, and the way we look at it, some of them are in about 5 or 6 states. So the closest competitor is 13 states. So it is anywhere between 3 to 5 years of I would say leg room that we have.
All right, thank you for taking time out and sharing with us those the prospects for growth when it comes to Aadhar Housing. Just a quick check-in as to what the stock is up to at about 316 after a pretty somber listing today on D-Street.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.